Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. My name is Carol Renault. I'm currently the chair of the Sanitation Committee. I'm assuming this role to assist Community Board 17, and we welcome your input and your feedback. I'm hoping that everyone on here had received an agenda and had received the meeting minutes from the November meeting. Did everyone receive it? Everyone who's on here?
I did.
Yes.
This is George State. Good evening. I got it.
Thank you, George. And just to spot check, Mr. Westcott, I know you had it because I had forwarded it to you.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. I got it late, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
No, not a problem. It's the direct meeting minutes from the recording from last month's recording.
Okay. Thank
Now,
you.
thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask if someone can approve the meeting minutes based on what we had from that recording.
So moved.
Thank you so much. Is that Mr. Blair, Milo Blair?
Yes, that's me.
And just to proceed with the agenda, Ms. Barton, are you able to share the agenda?
No, you can share it.
I'm going to go ahead then, just so.
Excuse
Okay.
me. Who's seconding the motion for the minutes?
Yeah, George State seconds the motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Thank you, Mr. Blair. Now, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and just open the agenda and try to make an attempt to share it so that everyone can see what I'm referring to. I'm opening the old agenda, Carol. I'm looking at the new agenda, the more recent agenda. And while I'm sharing, if someone can just let me know if they're able to see the agenda on my screen.
No.
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 Just go ahead. You should be able to see it now. I'm sharing my screen. You should be able to see it.
Okay.
Yes, we're seeing it.
Okay, good. Let me open that back up and then go to the meeting agenda. So here is where we are. We just want to go ahead. I'll give you a brief report. Then I'm going to ask anyone from the subcommittees just to give us their reports. Then I'm going to ask Mr. Westcott or Mr. Blair to let us know what's occurring with their organization, who will be working in partnership with the Sanitation Committee. We're going to have a brief open discussion and any unfinished business before we adjourn the meeting. Just to reiterate, we're cognizant of everyone's time. It is a time of celebration, a time of sadness for some. I just shared with the group before everyone came on. I'm teaching in a school where 35 of our teachers called in sick, and half of them are they came back positive with COVID. So I want to remind you to keep taking care of yourself as well. But just to continue with the report that I have. Since I'm new to the role, I've spent time requesting an active committee list. I would like to see who's on the committee. I've set up a skeleton for 2 databases for the subcommittees, requesting a list of hotspot areas from our district manager. Now, these hotspot areas are areas where we usually receive complaints, whether it's a garbage complaint, whether it's an illegal parking vehicle complaint. So we're going to be receiving that from Ms. Fraser, and we're going to use this for, we're planning subsequent cleanups. We're going to have a main spring cleanup, and we're going to have possibly some bi-weekly cleanups throughout Flatbush. I had also spent time speaking to 2 different organizations. I had meetings with Black Trans Nations. I spoke with Donnie Givens, And I also spoke with Mr. Westcott and Mr. Blair from Kings County South regarding the spring cleanup and the biweekly cleanups. We will ask representatives from both organizations, as long as they're here, if they can speak and just fill us in on their mission and why they want to work with Community Board 17, or just some of the things that they've been doing. Just from speaking with them, both organizations will play an integral role in this committee moving forward. The last few points that I have, whenever we receive a complaint, and I'm just asking all of our committee members or everyone on here, whenever you call into Ms. Fraser or you call into us or email into us with a complaint, please make sure you have a physical address, because when we log it in with Sanitation or Department of Traffic, they need an actual address. Where if we tell them it's between Clarendon and D, they sometimes they can't find the issue. Please just have a physical address for us. The Department of Sanitation updated contact will be coming from the district manager, and a more updated contact for DOT will also be coming. And that ends my report. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, just in case Mr. Westcott or Donique Givens from Black Trans Nation, just in case anyone else has anything to share.
All
Any
right,
questions or any concerns so far regarding the brief report that I gave?
all right.
No.
I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kendrick Westcott. I have been I've been running organizations since 2004. Our organization has been in effect. And the purpose of the organization, it's a concern pertaining to our community in regards of all the elders. For instance, we had meetings in regards to people who had suffered dementia. We call in the people that knows best, would explain the signs of dementia. We also had the fire department in. We also had the police department in. We had various various agencies we had come in. Mr. Blair, if there's anything that I forget, I appreciate if you can fill me in. And also, what our concern were, I have to say, well, because the things are so bad now that it's out of control. Our main concern actually is cleanliness in our district. I mean, when we walk around and we see the condition of our streets, I am so happy that Dr. Carroll decided to chair this committee, because personally, and speaking for our organization, we are very happy to participate in this particular program, because we definitely like to see an improvement in our area. What I had suggested to Dr. Carroll when we spoke before, I stated to her, what happened today? People are not as concerned about the surroundings as they used to. And I suggest the only way that we could get the attention, we ought to have the sanitation people start giving tickets out. Because when you start talking about money, people seems to realize that people are serious, okay? There are a lot of businesses that are in our neighborhood. They do not live in our neighborhood, but the way they make the money, but they really doesn't care about the cleanliness. And I personally hope that there's some way that we can speak to the sanitation department and have them issue tickets out. Because if not, we will never able to control what's going on in our neighborhood right now. Mr. Blair, Mr. Blair, you there?
I'm here, Mr. Westwood. I think you covered the main points with our concerns on the cleanup, as well as what the organization is about. So nothing more to add there.
All right, so Ms. Carr, that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Thank you, Mr. Westcott.
Quite welcome.
And we're looking for someone from Black Trans Nation, if you're here as well, as part of the subcommittee. then I'm going to ask Ms. Freestadt if she has anything to add. But before that, is Candy, T.S. Candy on, or is Donique Givens on? All right. Seeing and hearing that they're not here, we're going to move on. I know Lulu had agreed to work with one of the committees. So I'm going to give Lulu a chance, Ms. Freestadt. If you have any
Carol,
updates or anything you would like to add.
I'm here. I'm excited to be here. I'm sorry I was a few minutes late, so I missed the report that you gave, but I appreciate that people are coming together on this issue. It is very important to me. I've lived in the neighborhood for about 8.5 years now, and litter continues to be just an unfortunate consistency in a neighborhood that's otherwise charming and beautiful and full of sparkle and life and personality. Beautiful plants and flowers, wonderful people. I just think if we could clean up the litter, our neighborhood would really shine. And I am happy to contribute to whatever needs to be done to make that happen. I do think that it is a combination of ongoing litter cleanup. I don't think that litter is ever something that just goes away. I think that's kind of a fantasy that we would ever be able to, just stop cleaning it up. But in combination with public, a public campaign with posters and slogans and maybe subway cars and help from public officials to really try to get into the positive spirit in the neighborhood. So a public campaign in conjunction with ongoing litter cleanup, in conjunction with really working with the merchants in the neighborhood, possibly starting a business improvement district, which I guess in Flatbush, we've never had a BID for this part of the neighborhood, and really working positively with the merchants, but also letting them know that they are going to be fined, they are going to be ticketed if they don't keep up their legal responsibility of cleaning up the litter on the sidewalk and the gutter in front of their stores. So I think it's a multi-pronged approach that I hope that we're going to take, and I'm happy to do my part. Thank you so much for everybody who's here.
Thank you as well, Ms. Freestadt. And with those reports, with the input we've just had, we're now going to open it up to discussions from the floor. If anyone else has anything to add, or if anyone is joining us that has a complaint, so we can log it in. And not only log it in, we're actually call it in. My apologies, we call it in, we follow up, and we follow up with the person who called in the report. So that's what we're making an attempt to do.
I have a complaint. My name is Jadeva Smith, and I'm one of the members here. Nostrand Avenue. I mean, I know that Nostrand is always a problem anyway, but Nostrand, and I think that this is in the like the jurisdiction. Nostrand between Church and Erasmus. That fits in line, right?
It sounds like it is, yes, because I'm between. I'm not far from. It sounds like it is. I just have to double check it, because I know Church Avenue is where we start changing. You're saying Nostrand between
Church and Erasmus, both sides, but in particular by Chase Bank. I've spoken to the manager, and she said, like, it was a while ago, probably like last year, maybe the year before, and I know that she said that it's like a really big problem, and they had people that were coming, but I don't know if it's the wind, but it can't be the wind because it's like in the summertime, but it is still. See, I mean, Nostrand is normally nasty, but that particular block between Church and Erasmus, it is an eyesore. It is disgusting.
And your full name again? I'm sorry, or just the first name at least?
Jadeva, and my last name is Smith.
Miss Smith?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to do, if you can help us out, if you can give us, I know it's the entire area, but if you can give us an address, if you can just get an address for us on that block.
The Chase Bank, I'll give it to you right now.
The Chase Bank.
Yeah.
And we're going to log it in. We're going to do a 311. We do sanitation, and we do all of them. And then we have to follow up. Then we're going to be able to follow up with you to say what the resolution was at least.
Okay. Okay. It is 1462 Nostrand Avenue.
1462 Nostrand Avenue. All right, I'm
Mm-hmm.
writing that down here. And again, we will be following up with the different agencies.
Okay.
And just to let you know what I saw, I know just like you and everyone else on here, we travel through different neighborhoods on a daily basis. So we know we can look and see which neighborhoods are not getting the service that they deserve. For example, I was in Borough Park doing Saturday tutoring, and parts of the streets were not cleaned for months. But
Mm-hmm.
sanitation was over there doing a special cleaning with their shovels and different things. They were going underneath the cars that were parked. They were literally digging up the stuff that were sitting there and putting it in bags. So we know it can be done. We just have to press, and we just have to make sure that we're reaching out to the right people, and we have to make sure that we're holding them accountable.
May I speak, Dr. Carl?
Yes, please, Mr. Westcott.
Okay, I remember when at the first meeting I attended, I came up with an idea that had occurred when we first started our sweep down. What we did, I can't remember if it was Thomas, who was the district attorney in Brooklyn. I can't remember which attorney it was, but he had, like I said, he had these kids who had committed, minor crimes, that the punishment were to clean up the neighborhoods. So my suggestion is, if we're going to have our very first cleanup, we should inquire to see if they still have that program where we can have all these kids. I'm speaking only for the very first cleanup. We can have them come and help us, make a start. They come and help us, at the very first time.
And this
Okay?
program was with which office, Mr. Westcott?
The Attorney General in Brooklyn. That at the time, I can't
The
remember
district
if it was.
attorney.
Excuse me.
It was the district attorney's office that we had got those.
District attorney.
Right. So I don't know if the program is still in existence, but that was the punishment for these kids that committed minor crimes. So I think we should look into that too, because it would be some help for us.
Now, since you're on that committee, would you or Mr. Blair be able to call the DA's office or email them just to let us know?
Yeah, I definitely can do that. Would not be a problem.
And I'm familiar with the program because we had some of the youths at Vanderveer Church as well, but I did not know that they had them cleaning up outside as well. It's for very minor offenses, and they were young people.
Right. I mean, it wasn't easy because kids are kids, but they were there. They were there. Okay.
All right. I'm logging it in here. I'm making a note of it, and I'm just putting a note that yourself or Mr. Blair will be following up.
All right, no problem. I definitely look into that.
Thank you so much, Miss Robinson. You had something to say as well?
Yes, I was saying that did Mayor Eric Adams, did he not come up with a cleanup, sanitation cleanup throughout New York City? I saw him on TV giving a speech that he was going to clean up the neighborhoods. So I'm now inquiring, why can't we look into that? Because he made a vow that, the streets in New York City are dirty and filthy, and he wants to clean them up.
No, the last I saw Miss Robinson, I know they've made many promises. The last one I saw, they were discussing the rodent problem, and I'm not sure if they have if they're focusing on certain points, if they're doing if they have it on a list. But I do remember cleaning, and I know the last week or two they were focusing on rodents.
I saw him, talking about the rodents, but then there was another speech he made about cleaning up, sanitation, cleaning up the whole borough of a city in New York, because he said it was a disgrace, it was filthy, it was dirty. He wanted the city to have a better look. So I'm just bringing this up to say, can't we get some sort of assistance as regards to sanitation, cleaning up the areas through the mayor's office? That's what I'm saying.
We should be able to. When we had our cleanup here on my block, we contacted sanitation, and when you contact them, if they know the day of your cleanup, no, they don't come out and help you to clean up, but they provide bags, they provide all the necessary tools you need. And when you're finished with your cleanup, they had us leave our garbage at the corner of Clarendon and East 25th. And we left it there, and they came with a truck and took it and carted it away. So they do support cleanups, and we do have them on our list as a group that we're going to be using. But I'm not sure if they, that's the support that I'm familiar with that they provide.
I guess so an inquiry would have to be made regarding that. Am I correct?
When we are doing our cleanup, yes, we would have to contact them. There is one here in East New York where we went over there to pick up whatever we needed, and we just had to return it when we were finished. We told them when they needed to pick up the garbage. So yes, we do have to contact them when we're doing our cleanups.
So they don't necessarily do the cleanup themselves. You're
No,
saying
they do not.
they only provide the support, the brooms and whatever to do the cleanup.
As far as I know, that's what they did for us. And this was in November, in the fall of 2020. This is what they provided us with. They're just an added resources. We have to get different organizations to do the actual cleanup, including ourselves.
Okay. But I am going to inquire through them to find out if they can actually do the cleanup. I don't see why we should be burdened with this when we are paying taxpaying dollars here. Why should we be burdened with it
as well?
Pardon?
I'm making a note of it as well, that you will be making a separate inquiry.
I will. Yes, madam. I will. Yes, Dr. Karen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robinson. Ms. Friesland, I see your hands are up as well, if you have something to add.
So kind of you, Carol. I was just wondering, was there already a decision about when we might do a cleanup or how often? I think that my concern is that when we do a cleanup only, say like annually, like once a year, like we did a cleanup on that area that, that is it Geneva? I don't think I have her name correct. Geneva. That Jadiva was talking about on Nostrand between Church and Erasmus. She's totally right. It's really an unpleasant strip in regard to litter. And we cleaned it up. It was spotless. We cleaned up all of Church Avenue between Nostrand and New York. It looked fantastic. I took pictures. There wasn't a piece of litter anywhere. But within literally hours, the litter started to come back. And, by, I don't know, a few days later, you really almost can't notice. So that's why I believe that if we just like a once every 6 months or once a year cleanup, it's almost a waste of time. It seems pointless to me. I think that we need something that's ongoing, even if we did an hour every Saturday or 2 hours once a month, anything that's ongoing, then it shows people that you care, that it's happening. And I think it's able to keep, I think the effort pays off. People see that something's happening. They feel more like pitching in. They feel more like, not bringing their household garbage out to that corner. They start to understand that the neighborhood is undergoing transformation. I think once a year or something they're almost, those types of cleanups in my experience have been almost pointless.
And Ms. Friesland, I definitely agree with you. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a few minutes and I'm going to show you what we have. I'm just going to share it with the group, just so you can see nothing has been made. No decision has been made. We're just discussing, and we've broken the group out into 2 different committees. So we're asking for people who can commit, people who can help us, whether it's just a one-off, whether you're committed for the long haul, just to join one of these committees, because it will be ongoing. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen again just to show you what we did. I'm on East 25th Street. I'm between Clarendon and D. So just bear with me, and nothing is written in stone. So to piggyback off what you're saying, we're planning on having, we're gonna have a main spring cleanup. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So we did a cleanup over here in the fall of 2020, and again, whoever is in charge of the committee, you can do it whichever way you see fit. Everyone's idea is welcome. We just have to get it completed. So it's about education, right? Because a lot of people, they're so used to throwing garbage out of their cars, just putting it on the street. They think someone will clean it up for them. So when we had it over here, we tried to include everyone. At that time, Eric Adams was the borough president. So we had his office join us. He came over to the cleanup. It was a photo opportunity for him, but he also knew what we were attempting to do. So this is what our flyer looked like. Whoever joins us, of course, we're going to give them credit. We want them to know that it's an ongoing collaboration. And so this is the flyer. Then what I want to show, just to go with what Lulu is saying, in Bay Ridge and in other neighborhoods, it's not a one-off. The cleanup is done over there. It's done every Wednesday. Whether we do it bi-weekly, whether we do it every week, but yes, it has to be ongoing, because it will not work if we're not reiterating, if we don't keep repeating what we're saying. So this is what their flyer looked like. And just to show you a few pictures from what I was referring to, this is our cleanup. So we had the different neighbors, everyone. We tried to get as many people as we could. They came out, everyone in the neighborhood, and I'm hoping you can see something that I'm sharing.
Yes.
We had, again, the borough president came out, his assistant came with him. We can have different little corners where we can have waters and the gloves and the mask and whatever it is that people would need. And again, we just try to include as many people as we were able to, but it definitely has to be ongoing. And I'm just looking for that one other picture where sanitation told us where to put the garbage. It's a partnership between all of the organizations. So here is where they would tell us, leave it at this corner. And again, everything worked. So we have some of the contacts. We're waiting for a few more contacts from our district manager, but we just holding them accountable and making an attempt to do something. I know we can get it done. Any questions, or anyone else has anything else to share regarding the cleanup or regarding ideas that you might have?
All right,
So,
Westcott again. I want to piggyback on the last speaker suggestion. What I think we ought to do as we clean up, so we ought to have some flyers and give out to people, tell them to please keep their neighborhood clean, because just clean up alone, I guess they need a reminder. And also what we did when we had our cleanup, we also had paint, because there were a lot of tags, gang tags all around on Avenue Day, which we painted, and we painted the hydrant, and we did a whole lot when we did our cleanup. So I don't know if all that would be involved in the cleanup you're speaking about. Or we did a general cleanup.
So you took care of the graffiti and everything else you're saying?
Everything. Yep, we had the paint. We had the paint. We had the paint. And like you said, we went up. I believe it was on I know exactly where you got all the supply, because they just provide the supply. The body labor, you have to do the actual labor, but all to just give you all the supply to do the job. Yeah, we did the painting and everything.
Thanks, Mr. Westcott. And I'm making notes as we speak, and then we're just going to recap the way we're sharing the work, who's saying what they're going to be doing. But I saw Mr. Blair, then after that, Miss Friedstadt. Mr. Blair?
So, Madam Chair, I have first a question and then secondly a comment. The question is, we have a pretty large area to cover, right? So I guess it would have to be targeted, right? At some, if we're doing it monthly, weekly, or whatsoever, you target certain areas at certain time. Is that how you think
Yes.
about it?
Yes, Mr. Blair, similar to when we spoke, like for example, each week or every 2 weeks, we're going to be targeting an area. And what we've asked our district manager to do is to supply us with the hotspots. We know, no, we don't need any hotspots because we can all look around and see Flatbush is filthy. Wherever you turn, there's garbage, right? But there are areas where they receive more complaints than others. So we're just trying to target those areas first.
Got it. And then my comment would be, we want this to be self-sustaining, right?
Yes, this is
And
where the education comes in.
I'm pretty practical. So my first thought is, instead of a 2 weeks or a week, weekly might be much. Maybe a monthly at a starting point. We do it monthly, and then if the turnout is good, then you could maybe go to bi-weekly. Just a thought.
I'm making a note of it. And again, I can see your point because we don't want to do too much. Then we run out of steam and we stop within like a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, that would defeat the whole purpose, right?
Right. So I'm making a note of it here as well. Thanks, Mr. Blair. Any other comments at this time?
Mark McCain Brown would like to make a comment on what Mr. Blair just said. I think that, and as you mentioned, education. So if, for instance, we do cleanup, say 2 weeks at one particular place, especially if it's residential or even in businesses, and we educate, then those who reside there or who have businesses there can take up from there and continue to do cleaning up. So it's sustainable.
Thank you so much, Miss Brown. And just to add to it, Miss Freestadt, we didn't forget you. Just to add to that, Miss Brown, I truly believe, and I've heard it echoed before, that we need sanitation, we need the police department, we need people to be held accountable, we need people to be ticketed. On my blocks, they've started ticketing some of the residents here where it's extremely filthy. And that was the only way to get them to truly clean up and to be consistent. Ms. Freestadt?
I wondered if you would mind, I made a poster as a template, as just an idea, that really focusing on beautification, and it has an image of a flower on it. Would you mind if I shared it with the group?
Not a problem. Are you able to share, or do we have to give you sharing privileges? Can you check to see if you can share?
Can you see this?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Ms. Barton. I see you've set it up so everyone can share.
So this was just an idea I had after we did our original cleanup to try to keep it going. We did have buy-in from our council member, Farrah Lewis. She approved being, part of the poster. And also our Assemblywoman, Rodney Bichotte, I showed it to her, and she also was enthused to be included, although I didn't, because it's just a template, but she was happy to be included. I'm with the Tilder Block Association. They were happy to be included, and we would of course need to get the Department of Sanitation involved. But the idea was just to really kind of inspire people with an image that's beautiful, to really, let them, inspiration, beauty in terms of spreading the message. And I do think, I love what was said about education and getting like the block associations involved. So we could go block to block and get the block associations involved. And even the police, I worked with the police one year. I went around and took pictures of the graffiti and I emailed them to our community police officers. And I gave them for each photo like the address. And within, I would say, about 3 months, they had painted over all of the graffiti addresses that I had given to them. So the police are also, they did seem to be effective in terms of graffiti coverage.
Yes, and I saw there's a group by the name of God Squad that's going around as well from the 6th to 7th precinct. They've been doing a lot of work to cover the graffiti.
Was I able to stop sharing?
It looks like there might be an image there still. If you, it says we're still viewing your app. So right at the top of your screen, there's usually like an orange area that says stop sharing.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, I'm not used to WebEx. Sorry about that.
I know, same thing with me with WebEx. Thanks so much though. So again, I'm making notes here and nothing is set. Does anyone have any other ideas or comments or anything they would like to add? Or, and I'm going to ask as well, Ms. Smith, do you have an email address? Are you able to drop it in the chat so that we
I'm
can
not
get back?
I'm on audio.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I can spell it out to you because I'm on audio. I'm not on the WebEx board or whatever it is.
Not a problem. If I can have your
Do you want
email
me?
address?
Okay, it's J as in jelly, A as in apple, D as in Daisy, E as in Edward, another E as in Edward, V as in Victoria, A as in apple, dot Smith, SMITH, at Gmail. And then I had a comment. I know since I've been like calling in for these meetings, it seems like the trash bins or the baskets or whatever is something that a lot of people have expressed, like I guess a desire in getting more. And I think that at least for me where I live on Tilden 28th. In my particular area, most of the filthy streets are the commercial streets. So if we can have more trash bins, like trash bins on every corner, I know it seems like it's been a headache to get them, and to have them picked up more often, I think that will help to alleviate a lot of the garbage. Not all of it, because we know people are disgusting, people don't follow the rules. They'll put their household garbage, even though it specifically says do not place that. But if we can have more of the trash bins and have them picked up, whether it's daily or whatever, I think that would help out a lot.
All right, I've written it here. And just in full transparency, Ms. Smith, these committees are working with like a skeleton crew. So whenever these ideas are put forth, sometimes we ask for community input. And when we say input, we mean follow through as well. For example, on my block, and I keep referencing my block, I've been over here over 25 years. We have a strong a block association. We work with the greenest block. We know Tilder Association very well. We know block associations. But whenever we need to get anything done, someone has to take it. Someone, we ask that someone pretty much own it and help us to follow through with it. So just to let you know, the ones that I've penned down so far, I've just put who said they would be able to follow up on it. And I'm just going to ask you if you would be able to follow up on maybe like one of these requests at least. If you have an address, for example, if you know Rogers and Avenue D, somewhere in that area, there's a ticket that has to go in, and this is the only way it gets done. And for some reason, everything is backed up, and I'm not blaming COVID. I'm tired of hearing everyone blame COVID. I know it has some merit to it because everything was a little bit slower, but this is pretty much just to let you know in full transparency the way it works. I wouldn't want to take the information from you and say, yes, we got it, when we don't. Right now, we wouldn't have anyone to follow up on this unless someone takes ownership of it.
About the trash bins specifically?
Yes. We can put in for one request and then it would be slow in following up. But if we get someone else that's on the line just to help us out to follow up on it, it would move much faster.
Okay, so we're saying like, let's say if I was to like volunteer to do that, it's something where like, okay, I'd have to figure out who am I contacting, and I'm asking them for, because I feel like we need one for like every corner of every like commercial street in our district, because like it gets a lot of high traffic. So
You know what I would be able to get you? I would be able to get you a letter. We have a letter that we use and we just plug in the address, but it takes following up because it's just
Okay.
like a 311 report. If when you put in a complaint, sometimes they get back to you, sometimes they don't. Many times over here, we have to put in 3 to 5 311 complaints before we get a resolution.
Okay.
We can
Okay.
get you the letter, we can get you everything that's needed, but someone would just have to follow up on it.
Do you know if, in addition to like 311, and I think I said this in the group one time, I know that when I used to make complaints about like the trash on the subway, one of the employees, MTA employees, told me the best way to reach them is through Twitter. So I know like a lot of the organizations and stuff, they may be like, I guess they probably will respond quicker via social media. Do you know if any of these organizations, like I know I follow like sanitation and stuff like that. Do you think that we can go that route as well, or do you think we should only stick to like the letters and stuff like that?
Oh no, we do social media as well. But the reason they respond is because they're being shamed. Most times we put a picture of the filthy area and we tag them. We say at sanitation, we say at DSNY, at DOT, at New York City Mayor. When you tag them, their office responds.
Yeah, because they had no choice.
Yes,
Okay.
but you need a good picture. Once you put a picture up there and it's right in there, you're showing like, look, this is Brooklyn, this is Flatbush, right? So that yes, they definitely do respond.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to see if you were okay with going that route, or even if it's inboxing as well too. Like, okay, this is the issue. Like, these are the questions we have. Okay, I didn't know if you want us to just stick with one protocol.
Oh, none at all. I didn't want to come off that way. We just what we did over here, we had the letter and we sent it in and then we had to follow up. And when we had filthy conditions that persisted, we took pictures after pictures. For example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the standalone Sears that's over here. It's on Bedford, the Sears that closed.
Right.
Yes,
Sears
I'm right
was
over there.
Sears was extremely dirty. We would walk by and we would be like, "Oh my gosh, they have a corporate headquarters." So sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes when one thing doesn't work, we sent a letter all the way to the corporate headquarters. That's when they finally cleaned it up. But we also took pictures and we tagged Department of Sanitation on Twitter, and they came out and they ticketed them, and that's how. Sometimes it takes more than one angle to get it done.
Got it. Okay.
So I've written it here. I'm keeping a note of it. And if there's anyone on here who would be able to help us out with some of these requests, just to do a quick recap, Mr. Westcott will follow up with the DA's office. Ms. Robinson will follow up with the mayor's office. And CB 17 sanitation, we're going to be following up from your input, Ms. Smith. We're going to be looking at that chase, the address that you gave us. We're going to put in several complaints regarding the unsanitary condition. When we look at garbage, a lot of times we try to remind them that it's a health issue, and that's when they act quickly. And when they think we're not being serious, we remind them it's not only physical health, it's mental health, right? We have to pass this stuff every single day, and it's not good to look at, and it definitely affects us. So that's how we try to attack it as well, so that they can make an attempt to hear us and resolve it.
Got it.
Any other input at this time? Anyone else with anything they'd like to add? Ms. Friedstadt, Mr. Blair, Mr. Westcott, and I know some of our attendees, they had expressed interest in joining the different committees. We have two subcommittees at this point, and let me just share again to give you an idea of what I'm referencing. And if someone can let me know if they're able to see my screen once more.
We can see it.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the two subcommittees that we have at this time, we're breaking them out into, let me just bring this up, then it's going to make more sense. We have a sanitation complaints. It's not only for sanitation complaints, but that's kind of like what we're calling it for now. And then we also have tree guards and cleanup campaign. So far, let me just open this up. We have the members that had told us that they would want to work on the different subcommittees, and we've logged in your names, we've logged in your email addresses. We will be contacting you, and we're going to send this out again. So here is the cleanup campaign, for lack of a better name at this point. And then we also have the regular complaints. If anyone is on here and if they would like to join any of these subcommittees, if you can let us know now, or if you think about it after, you can also email us. And I'm just going to drop it in the chat. You can email, you can call Miss Fraser in the office. And Miss Fraser, you can call or email it there. Or you can always email cb17sanitation@gmail. Please let us know if you're able to join us. We're looking for a commitment. Again, whether it's short term, whether it's something you can do more ongoing, it would definitely help. Any questions, any concerns, anything else that we can add at this point?
My question is, the subcommittee that I'm on, which is the Trees and Tree Guard Committee, what other, are we just committed to that, or we are part of a cleanup situation?
You're part of the cleanups as well. We have it logged in with, but you don't have to do all of it. You can go to whichever one you're able to. So we have it broken out into either complaints or into beautification.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Anything else? Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a suggestion in regards of the Sanitation Committee. Seeing that the Block Association are part of our committee, I would suggest if you invite the presidents of the Block Association to one of our meetings. So they'll get an idea what we are all about, seeing that they are the president of different blocks. And that's my suggestion.
We can ask Miss Fraser if they have a list, because I know the Block Association, they were looking for an updated list with Block Association contacts.
Okay. Well, they do have a Block Association or committee, I believe so.
Yes, we have a Block Association committee. We definitely have one. Miss Ferguson, I believe, is in charge of it.
Okay.
But we don't know. I can check to see if they have a standing email list with all of the Block Association contacts.
Okay.
And that would be a good way to invite them if that list exists.
Right, beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
Would it be possible to have this sort of discussion with the chair of the Black Association? Because as was referenced before, I'm sure they're seeing and having the same problems and seeing the cleanup requirements that's needed for their blocks as well, right?
It definitely would coincide with what they're attempting to do, yes. And it's a big part of it because we're cleaning up. Some nights we're doing it twice a week over here, and it gets dirty pretty quickly since it's a high traffic area. We were going to make an attempt to go into breakout rooms. We decided that we're going to try to wrap the meeting up short. We're just mindful of the time during the holiday season as well. So approximately 8:30, if there's nothing else, we're going to wrap it up. Anyone else has any unfinished business or any new business at this time?
Not really.
All righty. We do have what we're gonna do. Does anyone, I'm trying to make sure we have everyone's contact before we anyone has any emails or anything to give to us. I'm just looking to see what's missing.
What are the next steps, Carol?
The next steps, Lula, Ms. Friedstadt, we were trying to do breakout rooms so each committee would be able to work on what they need to work on. For example, we had those 2 Excel spreadsheets. You have a flyer. People need time to brainstorm. We need to fine tune the date for the spring cleanup. So that's what we were hoping to do. And we don't want to, yes.
Madam Chair, in regards of the sanitation committee, is it possible we can have someone, a hierarchy from the sanitation department at one of our meetings so they can have an idea what we're all about?
Definitely, we can invite someone. We just need to, the thing is, they know what we're about, but when we invite them, what do we need from them? Because we need action items so they can deliver, right? If we're just going to tell them Flatbush is dirty and then they leave here and nothing gets done, we just want to make sure, for example, if we tell them, we need you to commit to cleaning up Nostrand, we need you to commit to cleaning up Glenwood Road or something to that effect, we just kind of have to have some kind of an accountability factor before we invite them in, because all they're going to do is, I've been in many of the meetings where they come in and they tell us what sanitation does, and we know what sanitation does, right? Because we see it, we're living it. So we just have to be mindful that when we do invite anyone, that we're inviting them for a purpose.
No, the idea that the reason I suggested that is we know what we're all about. When we're on the move, at least they know that this particular organization is serious about getting our neighborhood clean up, because all we've been getting is promises and promises. Okay, so at least if they come to the meeting, okay, we are on the move. Let's say we're on the move already. So we actually tell them what we expect of them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like the community board. When the community board has a meeting, they bring in the person who are in charge, and the person that they brought in, they know exactly what the community board is all about.
It's definitely a good idea, and an idea worth putting forward, but I wouldn't want to invite them until we have the date of the first cleaning finalized. For example, when we bring them in, we can tell them on March 10th, we're having this cleanup and we need you to commit to XYZ. Then following March 10th, on April 15th, we're going to do this and we need you just in that sense, so we know we're both doing something collaboratively.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, do we have, and you referenced this earlier, do we have the area mapped out with the targeted high priority areas that would go after first?
We don't have it yet. I'm waiting for Miss Fraser, the district manager. She knows we can choose our own areas. We don't have to wait for her, but she knows where she receives the most complaints.
Okay.
So I'm writing these things down just to follow up. I'm writing the targeted areas again. I'm writing inviting sanitation. But what we need to do, and Mr. Westcott, Mr. Blair, and everyone in that cleanup and beautification committee, what would you think is the best thing for you to do moving forward? I have an idea, but it's always good to hear from others as well, just so we can fine tune the dates and get it really, really going.
Well, first thing we have to find exactly when we are going to start, when we're going to start doing our cleaning, what time, what month. That's the first thing, and from there on, then we move forward. What we're about to do, find out the target area, like Mr. Bliss said, and we start doing what we ought to do, what we should do, what we planning to do.
And what I'm asking as well, in addition to what you're saying, what I'm asking as well is, are you able to meet, or are you able to respond to emails at least, to keep meeting outside of the once a month meeting that we're having? Anyone who's on that subcommittee, are you able to respond and meet with these via email at least, or respond to emails at least?
So I believe
Yes.
the subcommittee
Yes.
should come together just and Zoom in and or using WebEx is maybe the best way to do it. Have a working meeting that maps out everything that you just laid out. When we're gonna start, what's the targeted area, what do we need to get it done, which organization's gonna be about it. That we're more concise working meeting, I think, should be scheduled.
All right. And just to get an idea, I'm doing this, Mr. Blair, Mr. Westcott, I know you're both a part of that committee. Miss Freestad, I know you're part of that committee as well. Miss Robinson, I know you're part of that committee. Did I leave anyone out? Did I leave anyone's name off?
I believe this is Geneva Smith. I believe I'm in the committee. I'm not sure which one though.
All right.
I think you're in the Tree and Tree Guard Committee, which is now the Beautification and Cleanup. I see your name on there.
Okay.
So I'm going to make sure you're there as well, Miss Smith. Did we forget anyone who's on here tonight? Did we miss anyone?
There's also a name of Janique Williams. I don't know if they're here tonight.
Miss Williams?
Janique Williams.
Okay, I don't see Miss Williams on. Thanks for letting us know.
And T.S. Candy on the Tree Beautification and Cleanup Committee.
Thanks, Miss Robinson. I've been in touch with T.S. Candy and also T.S. Candy's assistant, but thanks for reminding me. So the reason I'm asking, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send out a separate email right after this meeting so that everyone has everyone's email address. And this way you're able to meet. If you need me to set up a Zoom or a WebEx, you can respond and let me know the date and time that you need it, and I'll set up that Zoom and WebEx.
Okay. I think that's the next
Madam Chair, do you have a committee lead for each of the two committees?
Yes, we do. Ms. Freestad, Mr. Westcott, and T.S. Candy, they are leading this committee. That's why we're asking who wants to be on it and who's doing what. So yes, we do have a 3-point person who said that they would be able to fully commit.
So I'm looking forward to the first meeting then.
I'm sending out sorry, Mr. Blair, I'm sending out an email right after this with all of the email address. I know I have. Ms. Robinson, do we have your email address on file?
You should do, but I
I know
mean, if
we
you
sh-
wanted,
I
I
know we
would give it to
should.
you.
I know we should because you did receive the invite for this WebEx. I know we should. Ms. Smith,
Okay.
you just gave it to me, and I have T.S. Candy. Ms. Robinson, just in case, can I get it from you, please?
Yes, it's Will, Will, T for Tommy, ERRY, at Verizon.net.
Beautiful. So that's Will Terry at Verizon.net.
Correct.
All right after this, I'm going to send out an email just saying this is the subcommittee for beautifications and what we discussed. And I'm just going to remind you to please meet beyond this meeting and email me back to let us know what you need so we can set up whatever you need so we can move forward.
Can I say something here, Miss Robinson speaking?
Yes, Ms.
You know,
Robinson.
the holidays are upon us, as you well know, right into the new year. So I'm thinking, I mean, would this meeting or, you know, subcommittee meeting, whatever, I'm looking that, wouldn't it be taking place, say, in the new year?
Yes, it most definitely can.
And I'm thinking like after the first, anytime after the first of the year in January then?
It most definitely can. Mr.
So
Blair?
what I'm suggesting.
Yes, definitely so.
So I'm making a suggestion that someone then should sort of try and figure out the date, you know, anytime after the first of when we could have this meeting.
All right, thanks, Ms. Robinson. What I'll do, I'll include everyone who's on the committee and the leads, I'm going to ask them to figure out a date of when you're going to do the sub meeting. This way we have something more tangible when we meet again around January, the third Monday in January.
Excuse me, Carol?
Yes.
Your meetings for January and February fall on holidays.
You know what we will do, Ms. Barton? Thank you so much for that reminder. We're going to figure out where we can move it to because we don't want to impact the other committees.
Right. That's not a problem.
Thanks so much, though. January, I believe it's Martin Luther King Day, which is extremely important. And February, I believe it's President's Day or something in that area.
Yes, that's the holidays.
Thanks again, Ms. Barton. Ms. Robinson, you have something?
No, I was just going to say that, you know, we need to try and do it. I'm thinking like maybe the second week in January or something. I mean, based on everybody's availability.
And I'm writing it here, and I'm going to put that suggestion in the email. The point of this email is just so that everyone in this committee has everyone's contact information and that something can be done before we meet again.
Right.
Because before we know it, spring will come around and we're not going to be quite sure what we're doing for the cleanup.
Exactly.
Carol, in regard to holidays, is there a community board meeting this Wednesday?
Yes, there is. I had received an email letting us know there is a hybrid meeting. Ms. Barton, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a meeting this Wednesday.
Thank you for
There's
that.
a meeting this Wednesday, the land use committee meeting, yes.
No, not the land use. I believe it's the general meeting. It's the general board meeting.
Yes, you're right, sorry.
At the regular location at the hospital?
Yes, at the same location unless Ms. Fraser changes it, but that's what I had seen.
It's the same location.
At 7 p.m.?
Yeah, downstate.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that information. I would just like to say in terms of the planning of our beautification project, I think one of the things that will really make it a success is if we make sure that we have different parts of the community in place prior to doing the cleanup, and that we really get people's buy-in and connect with them. For example, maybe we pick a pilot project area, like if it's that Church and Nostrand area or whatever these target areas that we pick, and we focus on keeping that area clean for, say, 3 months in, just like that one small area, working with the merchants, working with the block associations, working with volunteers, working with, posters and getting people aware of it. And if we could successfully keep one small area clean for 3 months, we would know, oh, this is how we did that. We would have kind of a formula, and then we could roll that out into other target areas. So maybe we can just be aware of what our limitations are. We're a small group of people, and that developing a template for something that could work and then scaling it up might be more successful than sort of throwing ourselves into cleaning it up once and having it, just get dirty again.
Madam Chair, Westcott, I would like to make a suggestion in regards to the cleanup. If the committee board would, I am not sure if they'll be able to purchase T-shirts for us, sanitation department, committee or something like that, so people would know who we are, what we're all about, and probably get even more participation in the cleanup in our area. I don't know if that's possible.
Not a problem. I'm penning it down here. This seems like something that would be, even if the community board doesn't do it, this seems like something like Kevin Parker or Farah Lewis, I believe, would be happy to do.
Definitely. All right, that's fine. Okay, thank
So
you.
all of this we can work on through email as you suggested and have a subcommittee meeting, but it sounds like a lot of us are really excited to really try to make this work. And we're so grateful to you for bringing this meeting together and, really putting such great energy out.
And honestly, we're grateful to everyone here. It can be done. When we did it on this side, we did it on a few blocks in this area. We were able to get like maybe 50 bags of garbage, and it was a small perimeter, like maybe from East 25th, Bedford, Nostrand. It wasn't that large. So we know it can be done, and we truly, truly appreciate everyone's time, and we're grateful to everyone who tunes in to these meetings. And with that, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna say thank you so much for joining. And I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn this meeting because I'm gonna follow up with that email.
So move.
Second.
Have a great holiday, everyone. Thank you so much again. And please look for a few emails.
Same to you.
Okay.
Same to you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Greetings, everyone.
Happy holidays, Paul.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Miss Barton.
You're very welcome.
Take care of yourself. I just have to log in some of this stuff and send out a few emails.
Okay.
Alrighty. Bye.
Enjoy your holiday.
You too. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
All right. Bye, Mr. Westcott. Enjoy.
Hi, Carol. How you doing, baby?
I'm good.
Okay, nice hearing your beautiful voice.
You too.
All right.
Always.
I enjoy the holidays, baby. Okay.
You too.
God bless. Bye bye.
Bless you.